What our organization does is, from arrival, our goal is to help the family become self-sustainable within 8 months. We do that through a variety of case management services. We provide employment services as well. We work with partner organizations to provide donations of food and clothing and furniture and everything that you would find in an apartment, because under State Department rules, as soon as those families touch ground, we have to have a fully furnished apartment waiting for them with everything inside.
Okay.
New beds, furniture can be used, everything in the kitchen, just because they come with nothing. They come with pretty much the clothes they're wearing, and that's about it. And so that every single family, they come in, we provide them with an apartment, we provide them with training and cultural orientation, really, and doing the best we can to work with this family to get them self-sufficient within 8 months. Now, the 8 months mark is only because that's as much funding as we have, pretty much per person, is about 8 months worth. After that, we have to rely on community donations, community participation, and pretty much anything else we can do if a family runs into the point where they're not sustainable. They receive medical coverage through Office of Refugee Resettlement. It's very Medicaid and Medicare.
Okay.
And with these services, depending on the severity, whether physically or psychologically, they receive medical treatment. Especially, I mean, you're talking about people who, have fled because of something really, really bad, end up in a place that's not much better, but at least safer. And then from the refugee camp to America, you're encountering a whole different language, a whole different culture. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of psychological stress that exists within these populations. Not to mention, I mean, sometimes we receive people that's never had electricity before. They've never in their life have ever had air conditioning or electricity. They've never had to pay rent or taxes. So adjusting to American society for some refugees is a tremendous hurdle. For other refugees, we also receive people who have doctorates, from their home countries, people who are medical doctors and lawyers and teachers, that come here, and because of our accreditation system, their degrees mean nothing. And so they have to start pretty much from scratch. And so, those are the two kind of extremes that we deal with. And yeah, there's psychological services that are partnered with other organizations, and just trying to make sure that these people are building happy, healthy, sustainable lives. In whatever way we can help. Now, looking at we're going to be resettling about 375 refugees this year. In 2011, we have 5 case managers and 2 employment specialists to handle 375 people.
So you guys aren't busy at all, is what you're saying?
No, high dropout rate of those refugees who resettle in their teens, especially 13 to 17.
Okay.
A number of different reasons. Primarily the first reason is our education system likes to place people based on age, not on grade level. And a good example is we have a 15-year-old girl from Ethiopia who was resettled about 4 months ago. It was a family reunification case. Her dad lived here for about 1.5 years. She was still in a refugee camp in Egypt, I think, maybe she was. And but eventually she was processed and was reunified with her father. She gets here. She hadn't been in school since 6th grade because of her time in the refugee camp. She gets here, and we put her as a junior in high school. So you see the disconnect there.
Completely.
First off. The second thing is she doesn't know English. And yet, by law, she has to attend classes at the high school. So she's going to classes that One, she doesn't understand. Two, she can't comprehend because of the language barrier. She has friends, other young people from Ethiopia who have been here who can translate for her and help her out in the class. But still, you're looking at, you know, this disconnect between where her reality is and where the system's reality wants her to be. And so we have a high dropout rate just because that stress is too much, not to mention that, okay, I was just resettled as a refugee from, you know, living in a refugee camp for 3 years. You know, cognitive dissonance that's happening. So in order to help, but then again, these people are incredibly thankful for the opportunity to come here. We had one gentleman who got a part-time job from East Africa, Eritrea, and he got a part-time job as a dishwasher at a local restaurant. And he came in with his first paycheck. His first paycheck was a little over $400. And he was the happiest man in the entire world, because he told us never at any point in his entire life had he ever made that much money. His entire life. I mean, the guy's like 34 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, never, in his whole life, he's never made $400. He's never had $400. And in his hand, he had $400 US.